Here's Beverly Turner interviewing President Trump and Keir Starmer, and she asks about Christianity in Great Britain. An interesting answer, and then I'll show you something that a lawyer put up on Twitter.
To the Prime Minister, if you don't mind, are we still a Christian country? We still have 12,000 people a year here being arrested for social media posts, for free speech violations. Does that not remain an important area that there is still a lot of disagreement on?
I'd like to have you answer that.
Yeah, look, I mean, in terms of a Christian country, I was christened, so that is, my church has been all my life, and we are, that is wired into our informal constitution, of course.
He says it's wired into our informal constitution, yet Law of Fiction, which is a group of lawyers that blog on Twitter, while Starmer stammered and looked, I was christened, so my church has been all my life, he's an atheist. The Sunday Times magazine published on April the 11th, 2021, I am not of faith, I don't believe in God. That's the same man. Full article on it, you can go and get that from the Sunday Times. Bev went on to ask him about free speech. Let's just listen.
Of course, we celebrate many other faiths as well, and I'm really proud that we're able to do so as a country. And on free speech, that has long lived in this country, free speech. It's one of the founding values of the United Kingdom, and we protect it jealously and fiercely, and always will. We will bear down on any limits on free speech.
I mean, I'm not being funny, but how can you say that in one sentence when you know about Lucy Connolly and you know about other people? What did Bev start off with? How many people a year are getting arrested? 30 a week. It's absolute madness. This man just lies. And that's how he got in. He lied. That's why you mustn't be afraid of Labour people coming across to reform. The reason you mustn't be afraid is, where else can they go? They got lied to. He didn't. I get so many messages from pensioners who said, well, the Tories let us down, so we're going to give Labour a go. We thought it'd be better without Jeremy Corbyn. And then what's happened to them? They get stuff for the winter fuel allowance. These people, they're not genuine. The other thing about the dinner, which amused me, there's stories put out, sadly, one of them being Andrew Bridge, and I spoke to him yesterday. I said, what are you saying that for? You've absolutely no proof, and I think you're exaggerating. And he's saying that, in a tweet, that President Trump didn't want Farage and didn't want Sadique Khan at the dinner. He didn't want Sadique Khan, he's made it quite clear, he said it in a number of interviews. But that said, he actually said about Nigel, and this came to me from someone who's been on Air Force One. I know for a fact that Trump wanted Nigel there. He was baffled that he wasn't invited, but said that it wasn't his place to dictate the guest list. The royal household officially decides, but there will be some collaboration with Number 10. This was down to the establishment, and I believe that wholeheartedly, because Trump actually asked this person. Add to that, the night before at a previous dinner, when my friend Mitch Fierstein attended, Nigel was there, as was Boris Johnson. And they were talking about all sorts of things. And Nigel got the ear of Mike Pompeo, which was a good thing because they were discussing free speech after his trip to Washington, where he had the balls to stand up in Congress and address them about how we're being done over on free speech in this country. Anyway, during the dinner, unfortunately, Boris got a bit aggressive because he said that it wasn't fair to blame him for the most immigration under his tenure. Actually, why not? If there was the most immigration under your tenure, why should we not blame you? I mean, there's absolutely zero chance of Boris Johnson being anywhere near reform. In fact, I think reform have been a bit naughty because I think they've used Nadine Dorries a bit. Look at it from this perspective. Nadine Dorries, big into Boris. Oh, defend. Tory. Oh, I'm buggering off from Tories. I'm a whistleblower now. Fine. Several months, 12 months go past. She can see the Tory party imploding. It doesn't represent her values anymore. She's been writing kiddies' books. And so she decides to defect to Reform. And guess what? She defects to Reform, a big flag waving exercise. Do you know what that really is? That's the finger to Boris Johnson. That, you Boris, because we've got Nadine now. Stupidly, a couple of days later, she made some comments in the press about, oh, it would be a great idea to have some sort of coalition with Boris. Not a chance. The row that took place in the dinner the night before the banquet is proof that that relationship, it's going absolutely nowhere. Most of what you read about President Trump from the media will be unreliable, and President Trump deserves better than he got, even though they did pull the stops out, I suppose. It's my belief, that I think David Lammy was probably behind a lot of this, and Starmer, of course. The one thing that, which politician does Starmer talk about the most? He doesn't talk about Kemi Badenoch, and he certainly won't talk about any new parties. They're no threat to him. They're no threat. You can flag wave all you want, you can back who you want, but they're no threat to Starmer. He concentrates on the individual that can affect his tenure the most. He concentrates on the man that will probably lead to an early election. And that man is trying to get everything in place. 900 councillors, control of 12 council, 2 more defections. They've won a seat today in Cardiff. Wales, Cardiff, you can get in Cardiff, you can get in anywhere. And there's been a defector from Labour. Now, don't turn your nose up at these. I did a video yesterday on the Fabian Society. Completely stand by what I said in that. As they grow in the Fabians, they like to get them young from university, and as they grow, if they want to stay in politics, they get more powerful, and then they've got their little men in place, just like other bodies that tend to go to the elite. What does Fraser Nelson call the Labour Party conference? Well, the Labour Party conference, it's like Davos on Mersey. Davos on Thames now, isn't it? With Keir Starmer, and I've spit all over my lip. Don't worry about this Labour lad coming over. I've read about him and I've asked a few people in Reform. Also, a lot of his constituents have said, oh, he's a right good lad, he's just got disillusioned. You've got to remember, 2019, one of the main reasons the Tories gained power and Boris got a huge majority was because of Labour voters lending him their vote to get Brexit. A lot of Labour people believe in sovereignty. And there's even more Labour people believe in sovereignty now because they only managed to get Starmer in because he lied to everybody. He lied to the pensioners, the students, big business, small business. He lied to the self-employed. He lied to the hospital workers. He lied to everybody. So he's got no chance of getting in again unless he fabricates some sort of fake war so he doesn't have to have an election. That's the only way he can survive. So I'm not put off at all by defections because where else is he supposed to go? I would normally have voted for the Tory party. Where am I supposed to go if I want conservatism? I've got to go to the party that's offering it and the one that's got a chance of winning. I'm not interested in people who come second and get 3 seats and 4 seats. We're past that. We are so past that point. We need to win 350 seats. It's a lot of seats to get. But he has got a chance of doing it. 3,000 council elections next year. 3,000, that's if they're not cancelled. And 1,900 of them are in London. And it's already got a London councillor. So we need to back these council elections. We really do need to support this. And grow the artillery. You know, an army isn't just the people on the front line, is it? It's the tank corps, it's the infantry, it's the man, it's everything. And that's what we are. We're an army of people from all different backgrounds, from Labour, from Tory. There's some Lib Dems come over, actually, that have joined the party because they told me. We've got to see us as a united front. And I know some of you have got your favourites, but I don't necessarily see these favourites of yours as genuine. If you go back to an article in 2019 in the Business Insider, Ben Habib quite clearly states he won't join UKIP because they've invited Tommy Robinson on board. I can read it to you. Here's what he had to say about UKIP when he was with the Brexit Party. Rightly or wrongly, UKIP is seen as a xenophobic, perhaps racist, Islamophobic party on the right hand of fringe politics. And I couldn't join a party with that sort of reputation. They've hired Tommy Robinson to advise them, and that pushes UKIP to a part of the political spectrum in which I simply do not belong and do not subscribe. That's Ben Habib, Business Insider 2019. You can still Google the article. And yet people are persuaded away from reform on the back of this being the right thing. And yet in 2019, he denounced Tommy Robinson. Now, you can say what you want about me. I've posted about Tommy Robinson since 2015. I've always stood his corner when he's been getting shitty treatment from the establishment, because he has. And, you know, everybody knows about him. So I didn't have that attitude with him. And I certainly didn't see UKIP like that at the time. So you've got to be careful who you put your trust in. And for me, I'll stick with what I think is going to work, which is the only one that's got any hope of getting there. It isn't bias, it's common sense.